Just a quick note before I start the story. I just want to thank everyone who listens and provides me feedback throughout this channel. We just hit over 100 views. I know now I'm supposed to say, well, please like, comment, and subscribe. And now, on to the story. Have you ever been in a car and heard a song come through your speakers and instantly remember all the words? Do memories of another time or place, and usually this is the case, flood your brain? This happens to me all the time. If I'm on my way to work, or even walking down the street, a song hits my ears and bam, I'm somewhere else. I remember the good times or even the bad times. I even have it happen to me when I overhear music from another source, like a grocery store. This seems to happen a lot in grocery stores. This song perfectly encapsulates that idea. I smiled constantly while writing this, and I hope it makes you smile too. Video killed the radio star. I remember the song vividly when I was younger, probably when it first came out. I don't really remember the specifics of my first listen, but the song was so unique, especially at the time with the talking parts and the ow ow and the happy beat. I remember the video was pretty bizarre too, but I had not seen it when it first appeared on the airwaves. I just fell in love with the song, just because of the music. I didn't, in fact, see the video for decades later with my wife. She grew up in a world where music videos were the preferred way to hear new music. I, on the other hand, really only had the radio. But holy crap, it was a very, very weird video, even by a 1980s standard. The video did not look at all like it should have looked in my head. I thought it would have been more, well, techy and computery, in a what the hell kind of new scary technology is this kind of way. But for whatever reason, the video I thought should have a very blue tone to it. It's probably due to the fact that I was playing with the Commodore 64 and the distinctive blue screen at the time. That's where I first learned to code in BASIC. I loved that machine. I remember when the computer was coming to stores around me. They would put one out for display, for people to see and touch. But because the staff really didn't know anything about it, they usually just turned it on and left it at the iconic blue screen. So, I was a mischievous child, so I would usually make the machine repeat, "I know what color your underwear is." That line would repeat across the entire screen, hopefully freaking people out who would venture a peek at the newest thing in technology. I never stuck around long enough to see the results, though. As soon as I would type in the 4 lines of code needed to produce the message, I would run. I didn't want to get caught. The employees probably would have had me arrested for wrecking, what they figure wrecking, a $600 machine. Nowadays, that price is closer to $1,600 in current inflation. So yeah, I ran like the wind. The random appearances at the local Radio Shack was not the first time I'd ever seen a Commodore 64, though. I went to a pretty good elementary school, where they originally had a beast called the Commodore PET. It was a simple, very simple computer, where the keyboard and the monitor were attached by this huge heavy metal casing. The only thing it could display was 2 colors, black and green. Nothing else. I remember playing Dam Busters on it. Somehow, that was really fun back then. But a few months later, the school introduced us to the Commodore 64, a full-color masterpiece. They placed one in every classroom. Just one, because, kids are supposed to share. Well, I didn't. I never had that many friends back then, so the computer and the intricacies of it became my friends. When the kids would come by to get a turn, I would make the screen appear black. So they thought it was turned off. The teacher, being very naive in the ways of Commodore, would simply look at it, get annoyed, and tell him to go do something else. I would smile to myself in the back of the class. And when the crowd of computer stealers left, I would hit the spacebar to clear the black screen and go back to having fun tinkering. I honestly believe this song was one of the first really popular songs that my parents didn't introduce me to. Well, back in my elementary school days anyway. I didn't get obsessed with the Bungles either, like I would with most music later on in my life. Actually, to this day, if you asked me, I could not name any other songs that the Bungles ever did. And actually, I don't even know what a bungle is. So the song would enter my ear holes sporadically through my life. It didn't get much radio play when it first appeared, probably because everyone wanted to see the video, which had been the very first music video ever to be shown on MTV. But occasionally it would appear on the radio and the catchy hooks would take over my brain for the entire day, accompanied by a slight smile, of course. I just can't listen to this song without smiling at all. Because of the relative unpopularity of the song, it was known, but radio stations weren't playing it constantly like Madonna or, stuff like that. I think the stores got a hold of it to play music in the background, while people shopped. It was unoffensive and subtly poppy, so it was perfect for the shopping crowd. No old ladies were getting offended by Madonna's Like a Virgin or anything. That kind of music constantly played at my job. I'd been there for a few years when I suddenly noticed the music had changed. Instead of the god-awful 70s music that my older managers would groove to, it was playing 80s music. Duran Duran was Hungry Like the Wolf, and Elton John was Still Standing. And I was working near the front of the store one day, right by the cash registers, when it happened. I heard the distinctive "ow, ow." The song kept playing as I started to get into it, and a woman stood behind me, waiting in line. I unconsciously started to just kind of move my hips a bit, sway around, and hum to the music. That song's extremely hummable. After a little bit, I noticed the woman was also quietly singing the words. We strangely started singing in tandem. I would go, "oh, oh," and she would murmur, "Video killed the radio star." We must have done it for a minute or so. The cashiers back then didn't seem to be that quick. But that was okay, because, we got to groove a little bit longer. A gentleman continued the line behind her, and he must have noticed our performance. He didn't make any snide comments. People seemed friendlier back then. Instead, he was waiting for the perfect time and started to join in with, "In my mind and in my car, put the blame on VTR." The song was just ending as the line started to move. We all paused for a second and looked at each other with a smile and said, "It was a great song." Well, okay, except I think the guy probably said it was a damn great song. And after having that moment, that strange musical fun clarity at work, I would constantly try to make sure that the store radio was tuned to the 80s. My managers would get annoyed and only play the 70s, but then in an attempt to start a flash sing-along, I would sneak up and change it back to 80s magic. It just seemed to make the customers and the staff, and most importantly me, smile while in the store. I've had a few moments like that over the last 20 plus years that I've been there, and each time I smile and remember the moment and this amazing song. To this day, I still believe that it's my favorite song of all time. And if you happen to be shopping in my store and you see a worker quietly singing and swaying to the store radio, join in. I would really love the company. I hope you enjoyed this story that fell out of my head. I love the idea of organic group events, things that people don't plan, things that just happen. It's pretty fun considering how much I plan things in my life. But if you've ever had a song that made you sing in front of strangers or because of them, please let me know in the comments below. I can't be the only one who finds music that helps them smile while at work. I've already started writing a story that will appear in November. So I'm not going anywhere. Please subscribe, if you will, to be the first one to hear my music memories.